For once, a bit of good news coming out of Palestine. Today, Palestine officially became the 123rd state party to join the International Criminal Court, aka the ICC. They gained official membership to the Hague-based court back in January, but it wasn't made official until today. So, you may ask, what's the significance of all of this? Besides the obvious, setting the scene for potential legal action against Israel over the years, this is another step forward on the long road for Palestine to make sure the world recognizes and acknowledges Palestine and that it undeniably exists. Jose, what do you make of all this? Do you think this is a very significant step?
I think it is. I think it's about time that we give Palestine its real place in the world. Them joining the ICC allows for the investigation, international investigation, and if there's anything to persecution of those who commit any crimes against humanity on Palestine territory. Before that, anything that happened in Palestine wasn't really investigated because there was no official integration to the ICC. We've seen in the past how the different offensives that have happened in the Gaza Strip had taken over. Just the last August, last year, we saw 1,400 deaths just out of that offensive from the Israeli. And no one, if there's any abuse of human rights or crimes against humanity, there was no instance for the Palestinian government to go and ask for it, or international observers. Now with the integration of Palestine in the ICC, now there's a route for that.
Makes it much easier. One thing that particularly a lot of people want to be looked into is the fact of the civilian deaths that happened in Palestine. You mentioned the latest war in August, where 1,400 had been killed. Mm-hmm. The number of civilians killed is ridiculous. 80% of that 1,400, they reportedly were shelling schools, really urban areas. So, like you said, it was hard for them to investigate, and it's Israel at the end of the day that's happening. Yep. Imagine if that was Hamas doing those types of things or somebody else. Israel being our biggest ally in the region, not surprising. And speaking of Israel, they were strongly against the move for it to happen. Unsurprisingly, though.
Of course, because now we see that the perception of these military operations is between a country and a legitimate country.
Right.
It's not a country and a territory that some claim as a country and some claim as an occupation. But the reality is that now we have precedent to be convinced that Palestine has a state. And now if Israel commits any type of crime or abuse in their defensive operations, then now we have an international court that could jump in and decide.
Yeah, the latest war, when we're talking about Israel's military action, it's a sticky situation. They didn't have a choice a lot of times going into where they went in, but a lot of people do blame it on negligence. And maybe now that Palestine is part of the ICC, that negligence, they might take a little bit more care before they do certain things. So we have to wait and see what happens with this. Do you guys think this could potentially be a huge step forward for Palestine as regards to their human rights, but even further, going further than that, maybe even them becoming one day a recognized nation? Let us know what you guys think by commenting, and of course, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the Lip TV for more.